I shot this natural-looking, great-sounding video in the worst place you can imagine. A noisy office lobby during business hours. Phones were ringing, people were walking around, and there was echo everywhere. And still, the final image looks and sounds clean and professional. So if you ever have to shoot in a busy, noisy place, you should definitely do this. But let me give you a quick background to the job first. The job was a corporate video for a nursing service in Germany that I had already worked with on a commercial before. This time though, they just wanted a simple, honest team video. Small script, no B-roll, just basically open interviews with the people. We told the team just show up, sit down and have a chat. But of course, before we started shooting the interviews, we had to find the perfect spot in the office. We originally planned to shoot it all in a small meeting room, but the acoustics in that room turned out to be horrible, with a lot of reverb and street noise from the outside. So we had to move everything into the front lobby. And that seemed to be even worse, and honestly, it kinda was in terms of the acoustics. But we actually had more control over the light in there and even more space and depth in the background. So before we get into sound, let's talk lighting first. We started off by turning everything off to have as much control as possible. I then started to turn on the 2 pairs of ceiling lights in the background to create the typical ambience you would find in an office. You can even see them here in the frame. So these will act as practical lights that give us a believable base from where the light is coming from. I then started to build around these lights. I placed the key light, an Amaran 200X, high and close to the subject to have a big light source and therefore soft light. Remember, the bigger the source, the softer the light. To soften it even further, I double diffused it with another layer of diffusion. You would think, this is good already, right? Well, the next light is actually the crucial one in terms of selling the natural look we want to have in this case. And by natural, I don't mean natural sunlight. I mean the natural source of light you would expect in an office situation. So I positioned a rim light, an ambit full A2, right above and behind the subject to really motivate the ceiling lights, which in reality weren't strong enough. You can really see how this makes the scene feel even more natural. And as a viewer, you wouldn't question if this is actually the ceiling light. As a finishing touch, I added a projector light and aimed it at the plant in the background to give the image some more depth and separation. It's very subtle, I know, I was just kind of a freak here. Finally, I set up a huge negative fill right outside of the frame on the opposite side of the key light to add shape without making it too contrasty. I mean, even though we're talking about a nursing service here and we actually want a friendly, high-key lighting look, contrast still matters to make the image just a little more interesting. Here's the before and after. Do you see the difference? So visually, we made it work. But sound, that was the real monster on that day. So the whole shoot was taking place in the lobby during business hours, with everything you would expect to happen. Phones were ringing, doors were opening and closing, people were talking and walking around, just der normale Wahnsinn, which actually means typical madness in English, I would say. Anyways, so how did I make it sound like a studio? Listen to this, even though it's German.
Hi, ich bin Tina und ich arbeite für Pflegedienst Rose.
So 3 key solutions here. First, we used a proper mic setup. I set up my go-to mic, the Sennheiser MKE600, and aimed it directly at the chest, just out of the frame. It's super focused, so it cuts out a lot of the ambient noise. But why the chest, you might ask? Well, because this is where the bass in our voice sits, and we want exactly that for a rich sound. But a shotgun microphone doesn't cut out all of the noise. And since hard floors bounce the sound like crazy and create a lot of reverb, it makes your audio still feel pretty amateur and cheap. So we laid down thick rugs and blankets under the chair ahead of the shoot. These rugs helped a lot soaking up those reverbs and made the voices feel even closer and warmer. And I gotta say, the raw sound was good. Not super duper good, but good. I mean, listen to this, even though, again, it's German.
Hi, ich bin Tina und ich arbeite für Pflegedienst Rose.
Now you can hear we still have some room tone, which is fine and actually natural. And you could definitely keep it like this, especially when you're adding music and post, which blends everything even more together. But you could also go a step further and make it sound really studio level. Listen to this.
Hi, ich bin Tina und ich arbeite für Pflegedienst Rose.
And this here is what made the real difference. Thanks, by the way, to Dylan Bates who recommended this. You the man. I ran everything through Auphonic, an AI app that masters your audio automatically and gives you that bassy podcast kind of sound. They didn't sponsor me or anything, but I use it a lot, especially in tricky environments like this. After exporting my audio track from Auphonic, I also gave it a final polish in Final Cut. I slightly boosted the highs to bring out some more clarity, and I pushed the low end to add warmth without making it too muddy. And that's basically it. I mean, listen to the comparison.
Hi, ich bin Tina und ich arbeite für Pflegedienst Rose.
And if you feel like it's too podcasty sounding, just add some sound like room noise that you either recorded on set, or add some sound effects like air conditioning or office noise to blend in the voice in a more natural way. And again, when adding music in the end, everything perfectly melts together.
Also ich habe schon in chaotischen Teams gearbeitet und dachte, das wäre völlig normal. Aber das hier ist was ganz anderes.
But I would always recommend, just be a pro and record sound like a pro on set. And then do just the fine-tuning with AI or your video editing software. So yeah, this final image looks and sounds effortless, but as you can see, it takes more control than most people think. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had to deal with a similar situation, and let me know how you solved it. I would love to hear it. Anyways, that's it for this one, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. Alright, peace.